Good afternoon. We are live on Facebook. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited today. I did a live earlier. And by the way, I'm Beth Copeland with Georgia Christian Business Network, and we're putting God back in business. And earlier, as I was mentioning, I did a live and I said, we've got a double hitter for you today. And it starts right now. And the Georgia Christian Business Network Take Charge Tuesday business power call. We have an amazing presenter that is my guest today. And I'm excited that you get to experience Heather Rosson. She is the president of she's the president of National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs, and she is also the founder of her business, Irresistible. And she's going to talk to you more about that. We've been promoting you, Heather, sharing with people who you are on paper, the magnificent and powerful and amazing things that God is using you to do for the kingdom. You're impacting the kingdom in the business world powerfully, and we're so privileged to be connected with you. And so today I want in just a second to give you an opportunity from your heart, as we do all of our guests, to introduce yourself to our audience, those that are here, and thank you for joining us on the Zoom call here, but also streaming into Facebook. We have people that are over there as well. I want to thank Bianca, who is my personal assistant and our PR for Georgia Christian Business Network, for supporting me today. Also, I just want to say that this is the year of the double. And I know people are saying this is the year of recovery. I'm telling you, I'm so bold to go with what God said to me. I'm sorry, I'm not pretending that I have a prophecy from God. I have a message from God. And He said, this is the year of the double. And I'm decreeing and declaring that that is what God said. And that's what we're rolling with. And we're experiencing already greater opportunities this year because God wants to bring the double into your life. And we're going to talk more about that as Heather gets into double impact. But Heather, at this point, welcome to the Georgia Christian Business Network platform, and introduce yourself to people. Tell them who you are, what you do, and why it's important that they should know.
Yeah, thanks so much, Beth. So the year of the double, first, I love that. God said He came to give us life and life more abundantly, right? Like everything that He gives is of good measure, right? In the cup, overflowing, running over, and enough that I can't contain it. I am so excited with what God is doing in His people right now. It's crazy, right? And especially I have had this stirring of the Holy Spirit, and I love the men in my community. But God has a special call for His girls, for His women. And so in the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs, we like to say, we're locking arms, supporting one another, holding each other up as we push forward to that mission. And so I'm so thankful, Beth, for the voice of God in your life, and the way you listen to Him. I love how God speaks to each and every one of us so individually, and yet each a bigger part of His plan, right? Each little piece of the puzzle. When one piece is missing out of the puzzle, the whole picture is messed up. And so I love that He's doing that. So thank you to Becoming Irresistible is my marketing stuff. I do marketing strategy as a fractional CMO for some people. And I love doing that. We came up with a new tagline, which is super fun. So it's Becoming Irresistible, marketing that is influential, impactful, and irresistible. And so you said for today, the double your
three eyes. I love that. Yeah. Influential, impactful, and irresistible. Oh, wow. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited to have you here today. And, when we met, you helped me with dates. because I'm claiming age today.
It was about a year and a half ago in
Year and
September.
a half ago, September,
Yeah.
a year and a half ago. How about in Dallas, Texas? You
Yeah.
know, we both were visiting, supporting NACWE. You were not the president and owner at that time. And we both were speakers, and we sat beside each other. God divinely, and since that, we've been to Florida together. We will be in Atlanta next month together. We're getting around for you to be living in Tucson and me here in Atlanta. God has a plan, and we're a part of it. You know,
Yeah.
I can't wait. I just cannot wait. And I get the opportunity this afternoon to be on your platform, and I'm so excited about that. You know, God is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm
what?
excited about it too.
Yeah, I can't wait. I really can't. So I'm gonna try to just be quiet and let you do what you do. 'Cause- and so, because I've been studying and preparing, but I really want to get into, your second M. You said
The
double
impact.
impact, and really that's where it starts, I believe. So I just want to hear what God would have you to say to us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we titled this talk, Double Your Impact, and and elevating your business. And I like to say by the power of three. I mean, three is such an important number in God's world. And I'm a math geek, so I kind of like numbers. So I love all of that. And so with the double your impact, right? The impact we make is on other people, right?
Yeah.
So that power of three, I'll just like go out here and give you like the Cliff Notes version really quick, and then we can go on from there.
Okay.
But
Awesome.
it's like the three people that you need in your life, and your impact not only doubles, right? Like, I don't know if you know this, like double is an exponential curve, right? Like I said, I'm kind of a math geek. So it goes along, right? And it looks like nothing's happening for a really long time. You go
Uh-huh.
from 1 to 2, and then 2 to 4, and then 4 to 8. But pretty soon you're going from 1 million to 2 million to 4 million to 8 million, right? And so it's exponential. It looks like nothing's happening for a really long time. And then it starts to turn up and it just takes off. So this
Uh-huh.
idea of double is huge. And so in the first person, I feel like in business, right? In our
Uh-huh.
personal lives, I always think of it as God, my husband, and then my family, and then my outer community, right? In business, I feel like God is the foundation, right? Like he's undergirding all of it, life, business,
Uh-huh.
everything. The three people, humans that I need are a coach or a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
and then prefer like my inner community, and then the larger community. And so, I need all of those people. I need a network of people, which is where, Georgia Christian Business Network, NACWE,
Mm-hmm.
right? We
Mm-hmm.
know the power of relationships. And so this
Yes.
double your impact is the power of relationships, 100%.
And that is so good. That is so good, because you mentioned, and I meant to mention this, but I knew it'd come up at some point. You mentioned GCBN and our relationship, and really we're partners. We're in partnership, because when we were in Florida last October for the KWAT, the Kingdom Women of Tomorrow's outstanding women's opportunity, that we both spoke on that opportunity as well. The opportunity that I want to mention, you became a Georgia Christian Business Network Guardian sponsor. Unbeknownst to me, I'm sitting there and hours later discovering that you've signed up to be a sponsor. And there you are, all the way, as I mentioned earlier, in Tucson, but you're supporting Georgia Christian Business Network here. I've been a NACWE member for now, even prior to you, under Karen Borg, Dr. Karen Borg. I joined under her leadership and still am, and we'll talk more about that later whenever you're ready. But the opportunity is that the impact comes from relationships. I'm telling you, and I'm not going to get into what I'm going to talk about on your platform, because our U in the acronym for double is uniquely unified.
I love it.
You've got to be uniquely connected to the people that God has assigned to you. And stop trying to follow people that God hasn't assigned to you. You want to know people for the wrong reasons. Your motives are wrong for connecting with different people. The opportunity is, has God assigned that individual to me? And if he has, then there's going to be impact. There's going to be impact. And because it's going to not be only impactful for you, but for the individual as well. You may not understand it. Maybe somebody may come along and say, well, I've known them and I don't think they're all that. Well, you better let them not think that. Let them not think that. Okay. But you do what God told you to do. That's very important.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that I love about the way God works, right, is it's that ripple effect, right? Like
Okay.
I concentrate on the people God has told me to concentrate on, like you just mentioned, right? Then they have their people, and they have their people, and they have their people, and they have their people, right? And it's, I mean, if we look at Jesus's community, he was talking to the Father. He had the 3 disciples who were really close to him, right? And then the 12, and then the masses. And so he didn't have personal relationships with all of the people in the masses, but he impacted their lives greatly.
Oh my God, say that again. Say that again. Oh my God, this is what I'm trying. Oh my God, keep talking, please.
So I'll just say it again. He didn't have a personal relationship with the people in the masses, but he impacted them greatly. He had a very personal relationship with his 3 closest disciples and his 12, right? They sat and they sat at a table and broke bread together. They hung out together. They did life together. They knew who he was about, and they still didn't always get him, right? Like they still thought he was coming to establish like a physical kingdom on earth for a while. But his ways are not our ways, thank goodness.
Yes.
But yeah, so if we are walking and being led by the Holy Spirit, the same thing is happening in our lives, right? Like we have people super close to us. We have the people we travel to Florida and to Atlanta and then Dallas with, right?
Yeah.
And then we have people who we may not ever like meet, but they're impacted by something you did, and we don't get the privilege of seeing it this side of heaven. But I just love that thought, right? Like if I'm shining Jesus's light, his light is still shining way outside of my ripple effect.
I so love this, and I'm so glad because I'm going to make reference to this on our Thursday night meeting with the NACWE Atlanta chapter, and I want to recognize Carmen Caldwell and Becky Litwaller on the call right now. And Becky, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were trying to find the link until later. I was kind of caught up for a minute, but this is the very thing that we've been talking about, because Informing, all about our leadership team and the 12 people that God has assigned to be a part of the leadership, but we're going to be massive. We're going to have the 33 founding members, and then we're going to go beyond that even. But the opportunity for us is to know how to manage the relationships that we encounter. There's no cliques, and there's no opportunities for us to think we're in an exclusive club or something like that. But totally the difference. Leadership, that we're welcoming to all people, and we have a greater responsibility because of that, to serve.
Right.
it's just awesome how you said that though. Okay. So I'm going to be using that. So just know that.
Perfect. I love
Yeah,
it.
for sure. For sure. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that you I am, like you mentioned the Atlanta chapter, it's not a surprise to him that you and I met a year and a half ago. It's not a surprise to him that we went to the KWAT event in Florida and both spoke there, right? Like he divinely purposed this relationship and everything. He functions within relationships. And so that's when we're talking about impact, when we're talking about the masses and impacting the masses, he functions within relationship. And the interesting thing is when when he told me that, so just for your people who don't know this story, Karen Lemuel-Borg is the previous president of NACWE, and she had been talking about wanting to step away and find somebody to lead it and to take it and run with it. And I told her last March, almost exactly a year ago, but Karen, I really wish I wanted to do this. I just don't. And then a few weeks later, God said, no, you're doing this. And I was like, wait, really? And then, I called her and the story goes on from there. It was 3:33 in the morning. So Beth, I love that once in a while, just so y'all know, she sends me a screenshot of her phone or something when the number 3:33 comes up. Like it's just this.
It's divine. It's divine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like Carmen said, divinely orchestrated. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. And so when he told me I'm going to do this, he said, you're going to lead, but you're going to hold it loosely. And I haven't forgotten it. And I keep saying it to our members, because I know that the women in Atlanta have an impact, will have an impact from NACWE and from my saying yes to Jesus, but their relationship, right, is a little bit outside of me. And so they're, right, so this idea, I don't get to control anything. None of us, any control we have is an illusion anyway, but right. So God said, just hold it loosely and he gets to orchestrate the relationships that happen.
That is so good. And I think that's a lesson for all of us is we hold things too tightly. And he just told me that recently too. As shifts come, embrace where God is taken. Stop, don't, and I mean, I promise you, and he'll prepare you just like you said, so that when the shift comes, you just said, okay, God, what are we doing? And you adjust with the flow of where he's taking you. And I'm so glad, and I believe that young, old, is wisdom. God can give it any, but I love it that you've learned that at your age, because it took me years to learn that. When people would interrupt a relationship with me, I'm like, what happened? How come? Why? Where are you going? Why? But I've learned, it doesn't matter. I had a friend of 10 years just blew the coop,
Yeah.
and and it was nothing, but it was something.
Yeah.
And then when I ask, it's nothing. Oh yeah, it's something, but what I've learned is to allow God to do the adjustment. And I don't know that people understand it when I say this. So I'm glad that you're saying this, because I said, she said it, but God really said to me, hold things just a little bit looser.
Yeah.
And he just reminds me over and over again. And another thing that I was going to mention that I carry around, I don't see it here readily, but I have it here somewhere. This John Bevere, the bait of Satan is offense. And we have to be careful about being offended. And when people get offended at you, don't do Hatfields and McCoy, well, you don't like me, then I don't like you. God is looking for leadership.
Yep.
You don't have a reason not to like them, or more importantly, scratch the light, to love them. And that love requires action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same reverse of that. You just made me think of, like, is kind of the same, like when what we want, I mean, we all want people to like us, right? Like, it's human nature. God put that in us. But when we're chasing after their like or their love, right, then we're going back to that same thing, the other direction. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's okay that they don't. It's all right. And it's true in life, it's true in business. Um, yeah, I just love the idea of holding things loosely and letting God do it. We were actually just talking about this in our devotional time yesterday, the NACWE
Uh-huh.
devotional time, which was um a lot of times when you were talking about that shift or that pivot,
Uh-huh.
right? We get all up in our human head thinking, like, wait, was I out of God's will then? Or wait, did he not say that to me? Did I hear him wrong? Right. And no, I mean, it could be like, if you're not listening, right? But if you're actually asking the question, did I hear him wrong? Chances are that answer is no, right?
Uh-huh.
Chances are you were listening to begin with, unless you just know in your spirit you were out of alignment with God's will. But we get all up in our human brain, like, wait, God, why are you shifting? Instead of thinking like, he was teaching me something in that. I needed that season for this season. And that's true of every single season in our lives, right? Like, I needed that to be where I was and for that to happen. And, sometimes it is because I got all up in my own ego, but God will take that and push me back over as long as I continue to seek him.
Oh my gosh. And I think what I term it is self-examination.
Mm,
I think that you have to, for humility wise, because you've got to stay humble. Humility is before honor. And we have to stay humble and say, what could I have done differently? Sometimes you don't know because people just leave. Like, I've had that experience happen a few times, and it'll start say, wait a minute now, am I the common denominator? What's the issue here? But God is trying. What you have to do at the end of the day, if you find through self-examination that you're blameless, then maybe there's some opportunities. You could have maybe been more communicative. Listen to Pamela Bridgman Bartell and our Wellness Wednesday tomorrow about the power of communication. And I was reading her notes and scanning them prior to the show, as a matter of fact, today. And she'll help with communication in relationships, because this entire month of February. And happy Valentine's Day. Did I say that
yeah,
already?
you
But yeah,
too.
yeah, happy Valentine's Day. But the deal is, how we communicate is so important. And it's not by chance that God says, season our words with salt. But then at the end of the day, know that God is realigning and readjusting, and everyone doesn't grow at the same rate. And I'm talking spiritual growth.
Mhm.
There's a lot of opportunities, and you push back if you'd like, or give me some feedback. There's a lot of opportunities out there for questionable character with those that are promoting spiritual things. And it's not aligning. And so there's a lot of talk, but not a lot of walk.
Mm,
And God is looking for talk that matches the walk. And more than anything, he's looking for, I believe, this is Beth Copeland, a little less talk and a little more walk. And where our behavior is what is attracting people. People that you don't even know will be assigned to you. And I mean, it's like Erica Jackson. She sends me, y'all know, the amazing GCBN Platinum Plus sponsor, sends me a happy Valentine's Day today and tells me she's so privileged or thankful, something to that effect. I haven't responded yet, but I saw it right before I got on the show. And she said, uh, you always make me smile. I must tell you, I'm happy and feel privileged to be assigned to you.
mm.
And I'm like, you're privileged to be assigned to me and to invest. And I'm telling you, invest in Georgia Christian Business Network. And God gives those foolish things. If we'll stop chasing after what we think we want or what we think we need. God said, you'll sit still, hear from me, as Heather's saying, and allow me to send whom I've assigned to you.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And Erica, I love Erica.
Don't you?
Amazing.
She's so awesome.
And yeah, so I think you're right? Like this, you get this text that says, I'm privileged to be assigned to you, and you feel the same way. Like,
yeah,
right. And that is the mark of true, deep relationship, right? When it's, I feel the same way. And I'm just going to say this, if somebody disappears out of your life and you have no idea why, somewhere they are out of alignment, because you should not have no idea why, right? Matthew 18 says, go to them. And if you're offended, go clear that offense. And so if they're not doing that and just walking away, that's not about you.
No. And it's questionable about where their walk is, because are we truly following what God says to do? Because Matthew 18 should be the matter, that Matthew 18 is the bottom line. As Christians, we shouldn't be having fallouts. We should, Paul and Silas, what we have to understand, and Timothy, when he talks about separation, you should be having a conversation, and then you should be agreeable that God's taking you in different directions. We're not saying that that's not okay, but we're talking about making an impact. And the impact that we want to make first is for the kingdom of God. Now, sometimes you will understand and recognize that God is taking you in different directions, and that's totally acceptable. The other thing that I like is your opening. And when you said Jesus, his disciples, those leaders, there are things that and places that you can go with these people that you can't go with everybody, because they're not assigned to you in that same space.
Right.
And we need to understand that that's acceptable. But as far as developing a clique, or to have this group of people and others are excluded, is not acceptable.
Right. No,
it's just not.
And you can feel the difference, right? Like it's kind of hard to put into words, like, oh, these people are friends and they do a lot of things together. And that's okay, right? Like that piece is okay until they're like, oh no, we don't want you. That's the piece.
Yeah.
Where it becomes exclusionary there. That's the piece that is not of God. And you're not going to be, Jesus wasn't close, like we just talked about with the masses, right? He wasn't close to everyone.
No.
And the other interesting thing about, I love how God takes conversations, because this was not anywhere on my radar today. Right now when he's talking to it, but betrayal can't come out from the masses, right? Like betrayal can only come from those who are close. And if we're following Matthew 18 and you come in and you say, that's, we're going separate directions, God is taking us in different places, that's all good. But what Judas did is not okay. And that betrayal can only come from close.
Yeah. And I think what I'm hearing really just high volume today is the importance of that double impact is really driven by associations. It's so true. And I know we both, and most people here probably are, everybody's familiar with 6 degrees of separation. And just last night, I met someone at one of our GCBN sponsors, charter sponsors, maybe. They've been with us forever. Bernard Levitt, Gregory B. Levitt and Sons. And Bernard, Gregory B. Levitt Jr., was assigned to, what do you call it? He was made the sworn in as the 100 Black men president for DeKalb County. And I had the privilege of having a seat in the room. And God sat me beside someone that is just amazing. And why God chose to sit me there, I have no idea. And I thought they didn't have a card, but I had a card. So I gave them one, and they promised to reach out to me. And both of these people are just amazing people. And if I were to tell you, y'all be like, wow, but I want to hold and refrain from going too far with this because it's just amazing. And one of them reached out to me last night and sent me an email at 11 o'clock last night and talked about they've been discussing opportunities is to help the GCB network. Is that just amazing? It is just totally amazing to me that they, because I thought about it. I said, I hadn't heard from them. That's been about 3 weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks, and I hadn't heard anything from them. But people that God divinely orchestrated, in Carmen's words, to be a part of what you're doing, I think our focus has to be on just keeping our eyes on God and allow Him to do the connecting.
Yeah, 100%. So I have found, at least in my life, every single time I've been in places, in communities I should not be in, right? And some of them, like what you were, some of them are just all talk, right? Like that's really the problem there. But I have to own my piece of that and say it's because I took my eyes off of Jesus for a short period of time, right? Like I put my eyes on the charisma, the whatever it was that this space, right, included. And so if I keep my eyes on Jesus and I continually am trying to follow him, right? We don't all do it perfect, but continually trying to follow him, he will guide our steps. He will order our steps. And so then we know the pivot is just a shift. We know it's from him and not something we were not supposed to be in.
Exactly. And one of the things you said something about the charisma that comes from associations, because I feel elite when I'm amongst this group of people. And God just told me, don't discount the small things. Don't jump out too soon. It's something I said on the live that I did this morning. Well, maybe I'm in the back seat of the car, or maybe I find myself in the trunk. What we have to understand is I'm still in the car. That's what God gave me for you all this afternoon, is that I'm still in the car. And wherever that car arrives, guess what? I'm going to be there. I may have to get out of the trunk, but I'm there. It's okay that I'm not driving. It's okay that I'm not sitting in the front seat, passenger seat.
Yeah.
I may have not made it to the back seat, but if I'm in that trunk, I'm in that car. And so don't despise. And at any given time, I may get to drive. But the thing about it is that I have arrived.
Yeah.
And when we stop looking at the method that God takes to get us to a place, we want to ride in the front. I want to get there. I want to get there.
Yeah.
God, however you decide to take me.
Right.
But one thing that we fail to do is to show up.
Yeah.
What if I hadn't have shown up on that rainy day? And one of my spiritual daughters, Delisa Brown, took me because we had the baby that weekend. Bianca and Romy were doing some things. And, she came and picked me up and drove me there. And, it was just there to support him, all about him. And sometimes for impact in our businesses and in our lives, the way I see it, is to get my eyes off of me and put them on someone else.
Yeah, probably not sometimes, right? Like probably all the time.
Okay. Okay, there you go. Again, she said it. I
Probably
love
all
it.
the time. Like our
All
eyes
of the
first
time.
on Jesus, but then serving, right? Our mission is to serve others. And that's a whole other, like we could go on forever on like serving and not being a doormat, right? That's two different things. But our goal, right, is serving others. How can I help you?
Yeah.
In this relationship, like I like to, even business relationships, marriage relationships, right? They're not 50-50. God never called us to
Yeah.
have 50-50 relationships. He called me to
Yeah.
give 100% of myself to the relationship that I'm in. And
Yeah.
wait, like they're called to give 100% to me too. So if it's a 100-100 relationship, right, there's no room for offense. There's no room for
No, no,
there's no
not at
room for
all.
irreconcilable anything.
And you know, when you really look at it from that perspective, and you look at you're developing quality relationships, healthy spiritual is the platform that they're forming from, that's the basis, then the opportunity is when something happened, and we're all human, and it will, we can talk through it and say, okay, give me feedback, you know, and keeping the flow open for feedback. But one of the things with the restructuring opportunity that I was presented with our team is I'm making sure communication. If I see someone's getting too focused on work driven, then relationship driven, I'm like, back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. And that includes me. Put myself out there, you know, and it might be just a soft check to say, hey, how are you doing today? You know, because that's more important. And I see it already within the team, is that we don't jump into business first thing in the morning. And do we have opportunity for business? Yes, we do. OMG, we have opportunity for business, but it's nothing's more urgent and more important than that individual. Every individual on my team is more important than GCBN. And I think God's pleased with me. He's just fine with my saying that.
Absolutely, 100%. Right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. If not for people, why are we doing any of it?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
God called us not to. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say not to grow GCBN, although that's the thing that happens. Right?
Yes.
God has called you to impact people, and GCBN and NACWE are the
Uh-huh.
vehicles by which we do that. They're
Right.
not the mission. Right?
Right.
GCBN and NACWE are not the mission. The mission is the people that are impacted by GCBN and NACWE.
Oh my God. Yeah. So then if we make the people secondary, then we've lost it, you know, we've lost it. And, you know, one of the things that we're looking for are opportunities for how do we let, you know, we call it touch points. How do we, and Bianca's over that for us as our PR, how do we let the members know that we're here, we care? Are you getting your opportunities to come to the virtual platforms? Is prayer is so our focus this year. We kicked off Monday morning prayer. You've been doing it, you know, but the Lord said to me, is prayer is our fuel for moving forward, you know, and Monday morning prayer is essential, you know, on the NACWE platform. You guys have been doing it.
Yeah, we had a short little break because we were switching the leadership, right? Like shift
Yeah.
the leadership over. But yeah, it's essential. It is, yeah, it's essential. It's the thing that keeps us focused on Jesus.
Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. I want you to, I don't know what else you have, but I want you to share the opportunity for NACWE with us here in Atlanta and what's going on there, if you would.
Yeah. So first, let me just say, I am honored, privileged, and like beyond excited to announce Beth Copeland as our Atlanta chapter director.
Awesome.
And just like your willingness, Beth, to step into anything God has called you to step into, even if it doesn't make sense in the natural, right? Does it make sense? Right?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. But God.
But God. That's
God.
all I know too. But
Right?
God.
God can make all of that make sense. It makes sense in his economy. And that's all we need to worry about. And so I'm super excited for it. NACWE so Atlanta is our fourth chapter to open. Beth is doing an amazing job so far. She's still in pre-launch, but March 4th is going to be her Atlanta chapter launch event. And so
Yeah.
I'm so excited to spend some time with you all and see everybody and meet everybody. And I know that Beth, I have this vision. This is so funny because I do, like, God gave me this vision of standing on a platform or on a stage and having surrounded by women who all kind of do the same thing. Right? We all are about relationships. We all lead communities, whether that's with GCBN, NACWE, Women Network, like there's so many of them. And so we do things differently. Hey, first, women do things differently than men, even in God created us that way. We are definitely relationally focused. It's just is who we are. But he does things differently within our communities like this too, because it doesn't make earthly sense. It makes godly sense.
It does. Godly sense. Yeah. And we're honored. I'm honored, first of all, to accept the opportunity. And I am so excited about how God did that, and we took a leap of faith and believed God. But one thing that God told me in preparation for this afternoon on the NACWE platform is about character. And when I thought, now we can't make this stuff up, I said, there's no way that she could have known that I was going to be talking about that, because Bianca and I both know, and you and Lindsay probably figured it out because of delay, that I just found out yesterday late what I was going to talk about.
It's okay. God works with my pastor that way too. Sunday morning. I'm like, really?
And I love her patience. And Bianca's like on me. I was like, if one more person asked me for those notes, Bianca had already asked me yesterday morning, do you have Lindsay's information she needs for your NACWE presentation? I was like, oh my God, all this stuff coming to me. God, what is it I'm talking about? Right. And, and then when you get quiet with him and you just shut it all down and he starts to do the downpour, it was like, oh my God. I said that to say this. The impact that you're talking about, the irresistible impact, and what was the first one? What were your 3 points? Influential, impactful, irresistible. All of that comes, got your character, and I don't want to give away too much because I want you guys to come meet me over at NACWE this afternoon. But your character is the opportunity that will open the door for people you don't even know. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that people are Googling me. Those people that sent me that email at 11 o'clock last night,
guaranteed.
Oh, they did their due diligence because of who they are and where they are and what they have to protect. You know,
Right.
they're just not going to extend what they told me they want to do with us in that email last night, and who they want to bring with them. And I'm like, God, I can't even deal with this. I'm about to close my eyes and go to bed. I don't know what you're up to, but you're up to something. I sent it to Jess and I was like, you know what? I just can't deal with this right now. It's a good deal with, but I just can't do it right now because it would have been overwhelming. And I probably wouldn't have got a wink of sleep last night. But what I'm saying, and we all have, there's no one sinless. We pray to be blameless in every endeavor. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but your moral compass is important to God. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'll talk about it more this afternoon. And just for a point of fact, not to leave you open, man looks at the outward appearance, but
Yeah.
God looks at the heart. And if Heather had looked at me from outward, she might have said, I don't think she fits the bill of what I'm looking for Atlanta. This is Atlanta, you know, or whatever. But God looks at the heart, and God said something. He said something to me and he said something to her. And then we said, what? You know, because of the conflict, because of Jesus, it could very easily have been conflicted with Georgia Christian Business Network and NACWE, because we have a lot of synergy in what we do. But see, this is the beauty of it. It's when God's in the mix, it can be just profound.
It doesn't get any more beautiful, honestly.
No.
It doesn't get any more beautiful than when he's in the middle of it. Yeah, and I'll let everybody else know, like I told the room with the first meeting that Beth had with the women she wants to help her guide Atlanta. The reality is, right, I don't have to trust Beth. I trust God. And in that meeting, it just sort of fell out of my mouth, but it's stuck with me ever since, right? And I do, like, it's not saying I don't, I do trust Beth. I know God ordained this relationship. I know he ordained that meeting a year and a half ago, right? But keeping my eyes on Jesus, like, I don't have to trust her. I have to trust him.
Girl, you sending chills all over me. You know, this is just beautiful because it's the God in us. And when you measure that by track record about the trend, about the opportunities for your engagement with that individual, you know, and not get hung up. You know, Carmen Codwell, I'm just going to pick on her a minute. She's on this call. And one of the things is when she first came to GCBN, you know, I think I don't know if she was a member at the time, but I invited her to speak on a meet and greet here in at Cornerstone right here for Gwinnett. And she did an amazing job. And I was just so loving it. And I'm going to be honest, I made space for her on my platform last year at God Golfing Girls, because I really did not have space left. But I was like, I want that lady. And Jess and I, we discussed it at that time. And we're like, yeah, we're going to do this. And, you know, when you're kind of the head, you can do things like this. And because I wanted the women to experience her. Well, I want to let you know that enemy, there's a real enemy out there. Every time I got ready to do something to include the speakers, Carmen was left off. I kid you not. I mean, I could do all of the areas of speaking and she'd not be there. Or I'd be delayed, her email would be delayed or something other. It could have been if she hadn't responded, understanding that it wasn't about personal to her, that it was just some sort of way, a mistake. And it wasn't me picking or saying what she knew. And this is my perspective of it is, well, why would this lady ask me to do it and then leave me off of everything, you know? And I'm like, oh my God, why is this happening? And so I said, this is something the enemy's trying to do. Now, I don't fully understand it, but I think he had a motive. Now, I want to fast forward to where we are today. She's on my leadership team for the NACWE Atlanta. You know, God laid her on my heart. And I'm just so excited when we know of an assignment from God that we don't try to judge things prematurely. And I think in making impact in your life, and I'm going to give you a chance to close this out with a statement that you want us to grow on. But when it comes to making an impact in your life, you have to be very careful that you don't walk through life being thin-skinned, and that you look for opportunities to be in connectivity with people that are growing spiritually as you're purposing to do in your life. I just want to thank you all for joining us at Take Charge Tuesday Power Call. This has been wonderful. Thank you for those that will watch the replay, and perhaps any that were in and out over on the Facebook side of the house. We value each of you. And we especially thank you for joining us here on Zoom. Heather is just amazing. We have a second opportunity at 3 o'clock to get an opportunity to hear how God has given it to me is enlarge or double your capacity and win. And it's important that I say and win and not to win, because I thought I heard to win, but God reworked that thing and it said, you'll hear the significance of that this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And Bianca, thank you for posting that here. And also, I'm sure it's over on the Facebook side of the house. I want to again invite you to Wellness Wednesday tomorrow. I think Pamela took a double dose of anointing this year, and God is just really blessing her. I'm teasing her a little bit, but something awesome comes out of when you go through something, huh? Anybody? Yeah, I agree. Look at Pamela showing up. And when you respond the way that God would have you to respond, he'll use that thing for his glory and he'll enlarge your territory. But we're having a wonderful time this month at Wellness Wednesday discussing relationships. She's our licensed clinical social worker, and that married with being a minister of God is just amazing. So join us tomorrow. It is going to be outstanding. So thank you guys for joining us today. Next week is going to be powerful, and even March is going to just follow this. We've got some great opportunities, but I will mention again, on March 4th is the NACWE launch. The National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs for the Atlanta chapter will launch here on March 4th. We have an amazing outline. Heather's going to be in town. You can get a hug from her. Yes, we have a luncheon plan. The NACWE steering team, Atlanta. Oh man, just first class. They're so awesome. Becky's here today. Thank you so much for being a part of that team. And we're just excited about each of you being there. Heather, if you would, thank you again for being on the platform today. Give us a word to grow on today as we close the show.
Yeah. So thank you first so much, Beth. I'm honored to be partnered with you, and just honored to be here as well today. I was thinking of the phrase, right? Simplify to multiply. And when we're talking about doubling, we're multiplying. So simplify to multiply. So the double your impact really is simplified into focusing on one relationship at a time and going deep.
One relationship at a time and go deep. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us. You see, I got on my NACWE colors. I went out and bought a jacket or two so that I could be NACWE coordinated, you know. Love you all so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll see you at 3 Eastern, right? Correct? Okay. Awesome. Take care. Thanks again, everyone. Bye-bye. Hey, Jessica. I didn't highlight you, but thank you for joining us. We appreciate Dr. Jess. Bye-bye now.